Pond Wells. We'll move to department reports. We'll move the town administrator update. Then we'll move to selected action items. We'll then move to old business, new business, correspondence, approval of minutes, citizens forum, and then adjournment. So with that, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. And again, the moment of silence is probably going to remain the same for a while. I just want to think of all of our service members in the Middle East, and regardless of what you think of the war, what the work those brave men and women are doing, and hopefully they come back safe. So with that, please take a moment of silence. Thank you. All right, public service announcements. Mary Lou.
Nothing here.
Chase?
Nothing from me, thank you.
No.
None.
I got nothing either. Anything?
Just a reminder, June 27th is our parade. Parade kicks off at 10:30, and then the 250th festival starts at 1 o'clock on the Common. The parade starts at OSV. We'll come out onto Stallion Hill Road onto 20. We'll proceed up. There will be bleachers seated at the outside of the DPW, not the DPW, yeah, in front of where the snow plow is.
Yep.
On Route 20, we will have bleachers there. We'll have a grandstand, and then the parade will go all the way up to the medical facility right at the corner of Hall Road. So just past the Common, so you can come, view, sit along anywhere that route and participate. And then we have a little bit of a break in between, and the festival starts at 1 o'clock.
Perfect. All right, with that, we have friends from MassDOT on the Walker Pond Wells issue, so if you guys could come down and just identify yourselves for the record. Yep. And just say who you are in the mics, please. Nope, it's live.
Sorry. So my name is Lorene Poland, and I'm the supervisor for MassDOT Salt Remediation Program. And with me, I have our engineer.
So Tara McManus from Weston and Sampson.
All right. So if you could, just for the folks in the audience who might not know, kind of explain the broader circumstance and then maybe go into the presentation.
Well, sure, and I'll just, so we are here because MassDOT has agreed to fund a water line to the Walker Pond neighborhood, to part of the Walker Pond neighborhood, to mitigate the impacts of salt due to MassDOT snow and ice operations.
Okay. All right, why don't we go into your presentation and I'll probably take questions.
So if there's anybody new here, MassDOT has this program that helps out people whose private wells are impacted by salt, and we conduct studies over a period of years, especially if there's multiple people that come in, and we determine the best way to mitigate those impacts. So potential mitigation options, there's many, but sometimes there are drainage alterations. So it's always source control. Sometimes it's drilling a new well, reverse osmosis, whole house reverse osmosis systems, and a water line. Those are some of the remedial situations. In this particular case, the Walker Pond neighborhood, given the density, actually, we could actually go to the next slide, if you wouldn't. So here's Woodlawn Drive, and what you see there is, where all the little thumbtacks are, is like water quality concentrations of chlorides. And so it just seems to be this area. We don't have any data. I think that is south. But it seems to me that the highway, the groundwater flow is going towards the pond and impacting this neighborhood. And when we have a cluster like this of high concentrations, it almost means that drilling replacement wells are out of the question, because the subsurface, especially when these are all deep bedrock wells, it means that the subsurface is infiltrated with salt, and replacement wells just won't be successful. And if you get one that's successful, it's just a matter of time of pumping it and drawing down that salt water, that over time they fail.
Just a question, so
Yeah.
each of the yellow tacks you're saying has a compromised
Yes.
salinity on their wells?
Yes.
Okay, and are there any houses, so it's sort of I guess that would be the southwest portion of that neighborhood?
We don't have any data. We didn't have applicants from that part of from the neighborhood. So,
Okay. So basically, all the applicants were on Woodlawn Drive and the loop there.
yes.
And is it every house in that area, or is it looks like it's just about every house?
It's a significant
You know,
portion.
sorry.
There may be a house, there may be a house or two, but the way MassDOT would handle that, if we were allowed to proceed with this water line, is we would do the loop, and then if, for every person that qualifies for the program, we would connect them, our cost. If somebody did not qualify for the program, then they had the option to connect. They can coordinate with the DPW and have the option to connect on their own, because there'll be a water line right in front of their house.
So if I just ask one quick question, I had
Yeah.
a neighbor, for instance, whose numbers are very close, but she
Yep.
said she didn't qualify, so she would have an opportunity to connect.
She would. She could even wait a little bit and test again and see what, and if she, if it's,
So just in terms of the depth of these wells,
Yeah.
is there any commonality to that? I understand your point about not digging deeper, but I'm just curious if, just why it's this high.
yeah, they're 350, yep.
Okay, so it's 350, and they're all up the hill, sort of more towards Route 49. You don't see it as much, and you assume that's because the watershed's coming off the turnpike.
Yep.
Okay, towards the pond. Okay, and so okay, thank you. So you can keep going with your presentation. Sorry, I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, that's okay. And just what brought us here is then we worked with Representative Smola, showed interest in this project, and we worked together with the DPW, Weston and Sampson and MassDOT, and came up with some different scenarios to kind of give us a kind of a ballpark of what this project might look like. And so then now I'm going to turn it over to Tara. If you could go to the next one, please.
Sure, so we basically looked at three alternatives, and there is some infrastructure on the south side of the Mass Pike, and we kind of took a look at, the three alternatives being open cut across Route 90, directional drill under Route 90, and then also the option to kind of go up 49 and come across and down again. And when we look at those alternatives, we take a look at, feasibility-wise, what's the best option to go with. So taking a look at environmental permitting is a big concern usually for a lot of these projects. We also look at cost, we look at constructability, and then finally kind of look at, just as subsurface, what's underneath the ground and how complicated is it going to be. So when we looked at that, we kind of immediately ruled out option 3, which is Route 49. We talked to Mass DOT in the bridge program, and there's no existing utility bay. The bridge is actually, could use an upgrade, so there really isn't any way to hang a new water main on that bridge. And then if we did, that would be a heck of a lot of money, and at this time, it's not in the process for Mass DOT to do any work on that bridge, so that's kind of a long-term option, but it's also a much longer route, and the pressure kind of going up and around would also require a pump station, and that kind of infrastructure, longer pipelines, pump station, it's a little bit more for the water department to maintain, so we kind of immediately tossed option 3 out. So then we're really just taking a look at open cut across the pike. There's a direct route pretty much straight to the neighborhood. As you can see kind of in the green, and then the dashed line is kind of what we consider our alternative there. And open cut in discussions with Mass DOT was, the feasibility of the traffic impacts. It's the pike. It's going to be a major issue, open cut. And direction to drill is a feasible option. So usually if there is any other feasible option, DOT will kind of direct you into that option. So we really took a look at the directional drill. It actually wound up being, all of them had relatively little impact as far as environmental concerns. It was more constructability. There is some potential for some ledge, but we would need to do a little bit of exploratory anywhere whenever you're doing a pipeline installation. And the directional drill does seem like the most feasible, and is also actually probably the best cost alternative as well. So taking a look at that, we kind of put together, if you want to go to the next slide, I believe.
Are you going to explain what a directional drill option is?
I can, it's actually,
For
so
some of
if
us,
you want to go back
like
to the other
myself.
slide, I can, yeah, sure, no problem. So that dashed line there, kind of, you can see kind of overcrosses, the black dashed line goes over across the orange Mass Pike there. So you can either open cut, which is kind of just obviously excavation directly, kind of go down, you usually want to have 5 minimum feet of cover. With DOT roadways, you kind of want to go a little bit deeper. That's open cut, so that's kind of a regular trench installation, most used in pipeline installation. For a directional drill, you're actually creating a borehole below ground, so you're creating access pits on both sides of the pike, and it's roughly about 250 feet to 350 feet, depending on, the next layer of design and installation thoughts. But the goal is to basically bring a borehole and kind of back and forth. You basically make a slightly larger hole as you go, and you create a trenchless technology. So you're not excavating except in these 2 pits, and you basically pull, once you have the access pit large enough, you pull a pipeline through.
So
and
you're
then
excavating in 2 points?
just at 2
not
points on the end, not the
whole-
entire, say,
Got it.
350.
Okay,
Yep.
thank you.
So it's a lot less invasive, assuming there's no, issues with clay or ledge, which we don't anticipate. The rough subsurface, desktop study, if you will, kind of looks like 10 to 30 feet deep in this area. So that's where the ledge would start. Everything else is kind of a till, which would be a nice, easy, directional drill or even open trench excavation. So. And then the pipeline itself, usually with directional drill, you'll either have it double encased or you'll have 2 pipes. So you have a pipe inside a pipe so that you have kind of redundancy there. If there's an issue, you can just pull that pipe out and slide a new pipe in, or as I said, double encased, which is usually, there's an inner casing and then there's an outer casing. So there's some redundancy there as far as, concerns with that stretch. You kind of, once you put it in, you never really want to access it again. So the goal is to make sure you have some redundancy there, or some protection, if you will, for the pipeline. So at this time, there's, in the future, there was no indication that there's any kind of elevation changes out here for the pike, any kind of major restoration or anything like that. So the directional drill is kind of the option that we were leaning towards. Does that answer?
Yeah, thank you. I didn't know what that was. Thanks.
No problem, sure. Sometimes we're in our own heads with engineering speak, so I apologize. Anytime you have any more questions, feel free. And then the next, this is kind of the scenarios we were taking a look at, and we did some cost and estimates of, what happens if the whole neighborhood signs up for the SALT program and they find out, these areas do have a lot of impact, further reaching. And as Lauren had already said, pretty much the folks in the lower neighborhood in green, that's the best route to kind of get through existing roadways and just try to get over to the neighborhood. But scenario A is kind of where we're leaning towards, because of the fact that those are the folks that signed up and they have a cluster of high impacted salt wells. So, and we presented this actually I think it was in a December 2024, right?
This was what was presented publicly at that open meeting we had back in December of '24.
But how does scenario C not require a pump station? Like if you expand, because just walk me through it logically. So let's say that we expand water and sewer to this entire part of town.
It's just water. I'll
Just
preface
water.
it, just water.
What,
Yep.
okay, but just water, but we expand to that whole portion of town. And then there could be attendant growth to that, just development that comes with water and sewer. But maybe there wouldn't be, but what, I'm just concerned that it's a $25 million pump station. seems much more likely within scenario C than A and B.
So there's no pump station needed for this design or of
So-
any of these?
Okay, so increased use would not require a pump station.
No, the amount of use for single-family homes in this area, and I guess I should preface that what DOT is offering to pay for is scenario A, and if the other residents had signed up and it was proven that there was more salt, that would have been a different scenario, but
Okay, so
at
that's up
this
to
time,
you.
it's more that would be on the water sewer.
So yeah, that's what
I mean,
my
if you want to
concern was,
expand,
because
yeah.
it was much larger than I understood the scope of the project to be.
Yeah, and once we come across, there's the option, down the road, if the residents all want to put in some funding to go towards betterments, that's kind of a side,
Yeah, that's not
Whole
the
project,
conversation.
but-
So the conversation we're having right now is about scenario A.
Yep.
And there's no applicants outside of scenario A who have had impacted salinity, I can't say it, salt.
salt is easy.
On
Yep.
their wells, and you believe that's because that the runoff plane from the highway is hitting scenario A and not the other ones.
Yeah, the topography pretty much goes straight towards the
That
pond.
makes sense.
Yeah.
So then, okay, and so, or keep going, I had another question, but I lost it.
That's okay. Honestly, that's kind of it. I think there might be one more slide, but
I have a quick question. So scenario, A, what size pipe would you run in the borehole? Would it be, I see an 8-inch main, would you tie into the 8 with an 8 to
we
go
might
over?
do like a 12-inch just in case for the rest of the neighborhood, but that would be something that we want to discuss with DPW though, and Water Department.
Yeah.
But, because if you're going to cross the Mass Pike and somebody's going to pay for it, the difference between an 8 and a 12-inch, it's a little bit better for fire flow, there's a little bit more water capacity, but the 8-inch would be, neighborhoods are typically 8-inch.
No, this, I just want to restate. So there's no cost whatsoever to our residents with respect to the Mass DOT installing this water pipeline, if you will.
Yes, so the MassDOT will pay for the design, MassDOT will pay for the final design, they'll pay for the construction, they'll pay for the connection to qualified residents' properties, and they'll pay the betterment fees. What the MassDOT does not pay for is their water bills in perpetuity. So the residents will have to pay a water bill.
But let's talk about that, because somebody laughed, but I mean, it seems like there should be a bit more remuneration here. You're impacting the entire site usage, and nobody's really discussed a further salt remediation or barriers to that neighborhood from use of the pipe going forward. So I appreciate, and I just wrapping my head around all this, but it seems that, it seems like the turnpike scorched all of this entire neighborhood's wells. It seems like there's possibly additional remuneration available to them.
That is not for me, and there's never been. In all the projects we've done for the last 40 years, we've never done that. But that's, and you got to understand that there's a certain cost anyway with operating a well, right? So you got the electricity and the well pump, and most of these people have other issues like arsenic, there's treatment, like all that goes away.
Sure, except your water bill doesn't go away, and the ability to elect to have a property that stands alone and functions on its own has been removed by the Commonwealth's enjoyment of the turnpike. So there, I've never been done before, it doesn't really move my needle.
I can't speak to that, that is above my pay grade.
Okay. Okay, so, and what's the entire cost of what's the budget of the salt remediation?
We get about 5 million every 3 years.
Okay, well, this particular project?
Oh, this particular project wouldn't be funded by the SALT program, it's a separate funding source. And as of the last time we pulled the numbers together, it was approximately 3.2 million.
Okay, so this is a different fund than the $5 million every 3-year fund?
Yes.
Okay.
What,
That fund is like for us to be able to go out and do the water sampling and do the testing and,
It's a preventative sort of
Yeah.
fund. and
what
that's a
kind of
science
time,
fund.
oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Judy.
No.
What kind of time frame are you talking about? Because while this is getting constructed, what's happening to their existing well, they're still
They're currently
Remediation if-
using their existing well. Now, I can't speak for Weston and Sampson, but if we were given the go-ahead, we could, within a couple of weeks, have an assignment for Weston and Sampson, and we could actually start working. And I would say construction in 2027. Is that reasonable?
Start of construction, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, 2027.
And these are already earmarked funds?
That's it. We are in the process right now.
So not like in the fall of 2026.
Construction, no, we need to design it first, and we need to go through a lot of permitting first, too.
There might be some borings or something like that, but no, wouldn't happen that fast.
So what's the actual number of households that we're talking about?
Roughly 30, I believe.
Roughly 30?
I think so.
30 eligible households, más o menos.
And I guess it does depend on, and when we had originally talked about 2 years ago with the DPW, that potentially anybody along that route, you can see how it kind of gets to that neighborhood. We're assuming some of the folks that are right off of the edge there probably also have some issues, but, so you go on to the yellow there, and then you would kind of, if you can go back one slide. So we come across, and then kind of everything in green, I think that count is about 30 houses.
Not all 30 have applied to the program, but if you have a house here and a house here, and a house here that are all impacted, it is likely that the houses in between are impacted. And what we have experienced in the past is once they realize that the water line is coming, then, they get their ducks in a row and then they apply to the program.
So what yours, basically built into the premise is that everywhere in the green section that will have a tie-on paid by the state and pipe laid by the state for that part, and basically that will be bored under the land part of the turnpike.
Should we clarify that, just so if you qualify for the SALT program, then yes. But if you don't qualify for the SALT program, then you would pay for your connection yourself.
So, well, let's talk about that, because what's the state doing to stop further harm from the turnpike? Because we talked about, I think you listed 4 buckets: reverse osmosis, you listed drainage, and boring another well, and then this option. So what are we doing to? So let's say I'm the person that has the house right there. My well's fine now. 10 years go by, it gets salt burnt like that. And will those funds be available to me for my tie-on?
If there is a salt complaint and you come and you qualify the program, yes. This isn't a one and done. If there's a neighboring house, of course, we'd have to talk to the DPW. Can we go down one more house? Can we not? It may be some people on the outskirts might have to have a different alternative, such as a reverse osmosis system, because I truly believe that drilling wells isn't going to work here.
And you say drilling wells isn't going to work here just because of the depth?
Just because of what?
Yeah, what's the reason you say drilling wells isn't going to work here?
Well, some of it is, when we see clusters like this, it's usually because the bedrock is highly fractured, and salt that is hitting the roads just goes directly into the groundwater and just infiltrates. And so, given that we do have some outcroppings nearby that we saw, that is likely the case here as well. And, wells can be up to, especially deep wells, can be up to $100,000 now. And these are taxpayer money, and the best long-term, cost-effective solution to provide these people clean drinking water, in my opinion, is a water line.
Okay, and so so again, let's go back to what are we doing to stop that area from, in the scenario A, from getting further polluted by the turnpike going forward?
Well, we certainly can look, again, right now, we have no evidence that it has spread further than that.
I'm not saying spread. I mean,
Well, no,
straight up,
that
what are we doing to stop the group in scenario A from having their property hit with excess salt and frankly going into that larger aquifer, which goes into the pond.
So we also do source control, and we do training every year, and we've been doing training over the last several years in this area. We talk about, we use a lot more liquids. There's a liquid to, rock salt ratio that we encourage them. So every time we do training, when there's areas like this, we go to the depot that manage this area, and we talk about, source control and environmental sensitive areas. The problem is sometimes the salt has been put on for so many years that it's in the base flow, and it takes many years to clear.
Okay, I understand that, but my working assumption here, and perhaps I was incorrect, is this is coming from the turnpike.
It's coming from the turnpike.
Okay, so, and we'll work with our DPW department to make sure that we manage our own salinity and applying it to that area. But I guess my question is a little different from that, and it's not a gotcha question. I'm saying, like, what are we, it seems like there would be something to do to at least barrier those pieces of property and really the larger pond going forward. Am I wrong? Are there steps that can be taken?
No, unfortunately, whatever you put on the ground goes into the groundwater. I mean, that's the way it is. I mean, you can divert it other places. You can change the drainage, and then it only impacts, someplace else. The way to manage that is source control, to only put the right amount of salt down at the right time for the weather conditions you're having.
But the highways, that's not going to happen on the interstate, right?
You know what? In some cases, we've reduced salt by 50% on what we put down 10 years ago. I mean, we are working very hard. Matter of fact, unlike the Wachusett Reservoir, we just did a liquid-only program. We didn't even put any rock salt down. And we reduced salt by an additional, because the liquid does have salt in it, by additional 30%. So there are programs and things that we're doing and initiatives that we're doing to reduce salt, and we're trying to do it statewide.
Now, who was responsible for that initiative?
That's operations, snow and ice operations. I report on it as part of my job, but
So is there any goal to reduce the amount of salt
Of
so
course
that
there
Walker
is.
Pond doesn't?
of course, and that was what I was saying
Okay.
is I'll go in with operations every fall to the different depots, and I'll bring up a map of areas that are salt sensitive, and this is
Problematic.
one of them.
Okay,
And
so moving forward, you are going to reduce the amount of salt that's utilized?
we
Is that
have-
what you're saying?
we
Or you
have
already
been.
have?
We have been. It's
Okay.
just, unfortunately, it doesn't necessarily, again, it gets into the base flow, and sometimes it takes, depending on the geography and the geology of the area, it
See
can
the
take,
result.
if you're down to Cape Cod and it's all sand and gravel, you've got, water moving very quickly, a foot a day. If you're in other tight clays and stuff, it's moving very, very slowly. So it really just depends on where you're
If I
at.
could just jump in for clarification, Mayor, Selectwoman Dowling, for instance, we're moving to brine because we talked about the environmental benefits of things like brine. It doesn't have the same salt ratio. So there's a collective effort, I think, even on our own roads, because we have so many waterways along, to try to do this salt remediation. But I think the problem is the damage from the
It's already
past
done
is
in
hard
some
to deal
cases.
with.
I
But
get
I
it.
just for clarification,
All
we're
right,
moving
thank
to something similar, because I think residents who are listening to that might be saying, what are we doing? And just so people are aware, that is part of the process. It might be a different formula, but the general concept of going to the liquid and basing it on temperature and when you put it down and all of those things, and it doesn't have as much runoff because it sticks to the roadway better. So just to clarify.
Okay.
Well, this is helpful. I think we have to work with our DPW department at this point, figure out what the attendant costs are, things of that nature. Were we expected to vote tonight?
It's your call, if you want to vote to move it forward, or you can hold and discuss it at the next meeting.
I had questions for Shane about it. I just want to figure out what the attendant costs. I'm still concerned about this idea that there's no funds available for some of the water and sewer costs to these residents. which I understand might not be this thing, but this is a major inconvenience to them. It might be more in some instances. And this, when do you need an answer by? To make sure that you're on track with construction?
You know, as soon as possible, so that we can move forward with, you know, taking care of these residents.
Okay.
Yeah,
What does the rest of the board think? Talked a lot.
well, I mean,
No.
obviously,
We're in the
if
middle of the
our,
presentation.
if
We
our
can do
chair
it
has
after.
some questions, you know, I was ready to commit, but if he wants some questions answered first, that, you know, I'm
Well,
going to
mostly,
support him.
my concern is about the pump station part of it.
Well, we're
'cause
not
if
going to
it's-
have a pump station.
Well, that I just want to
Oh, you want to
verify
make
for our
sure.
own department that it is.
And I do believe, I just want to kind of wrap up a little bit and tell you, going forward in our experience, I think there might be one more slide, but it doesn't really matter. So we said that MassDOT would pay for this. And in our experience, we just finished a big project, and we would meet on a monthly, actually, week-by-weekly basis, and then monthly, with the DPW, with all the interested parties, to, you know, answer questions, make sure that we're all on the same page, and that everybody, so it's not like MassDOT is going and going to do something that is not,
So I guess the question is, at this stage, what you're requesting, it's more of a practical question, because, you know, probably should have seen this a while ago if we're getting to ask to vote tonight. But so if you're telling, is there a likelihood that we are going to get put out of order with any additional delay?
say that again?
So like, will the project be put off if it waits 2 weeks for us to talk to our DPW department?
No, I don't think 2 weeks makes a difference, but 2 months certainly would.
Okay, so, and is the funding available in any event?
In any
Like, I mean,
event,
like, if we wait 2 weeks, are we losing the funding, or is it's not a ordered funding, it's already been
No.
dedicated for this project? Okay, and so the, and is the larger, and so, and the aggregate cost is roughly, you said, I think, 2.5 million?
3.2
3.2,
million.
sorry.
At the time, I imagine that's gone up.
Okay. Does that matter for you guys? Like, will there be a, if it goes up, or?
If it has gone up a little bit, and that is the solution to provide these residents clean water, we're okay with that.
Mind if I just ask a couple
Yeah,
of questions,
go ahead.
just to hammer a few things home? So
Yeah.
these people their wells have been suffering, so this project is fully going to take care of their water. There's going to be no tie-in fee for them. Other than their water bill a month, everything's paid for.
Correct.
I just want to reiterate that. Personally, for me, I think that, you know, it's tough to thank the state when we know that it was the state's fault, but I applaud you for stepping in and fixing it for these people. I'm in support of it. I don't have a problem with our chair wanting to talk to our water department in 2
I'm
weeks.
fine with it in theory, but I don't have an issue with the project generally, but I have a little bit of an issue with the lack of specificity. It's like approximately 28 houses, where's the cutoff line, who are we doing it for? It's not that, my concerns are not, if there's no other viable alternative to get clean water to the house, that's one thing. If we're talking, it's a little wishy-washy to me in terms of the who, where, what, which households are getting what, who are the specific offers, who would be in the area that is, like, I just need it's just because the cost implications around our water and sewer, which has been rising, as I'm sure you guys know, pretty remarkably at times, is the concern, and just making sure I understand what we're doing, that who's getting it, and that it can be clearly communicated to everybody is more my concern. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so I think I don't know if any new, since we had done the study a year and a half ago and worked and presented this, I think there's 15 folks that had actually signed on.
About that, yeah.
So
And then-
15.
And then, you know, there was letters that had gone out to them to sign, to test, go out and test, so you figure out if you want to come
Okay,
into the program.
I'm less concerned with the floor, more concerned with the ceiling. So where's the cutoff line? Who's the
Those
cutoff
15 are
line for?
what DOT would actually pay for, then it's up to you, if you would, if the Water and Sewer Commission, DPW, Select Board, whoever's in charge of all this that wants to make a decision, but usually if a water line or a sewer line goes in front of a house, there's either a mandatory connection or an optional connection. And so that's something that you can decide on how you want to handle that, but if they're part of the program, that's the intent of DOT to pay for
I'm
that.
really talking about where we're running water line and where the state is paying to run water line. And what are the places within a reasonable zone of tie-in. Does that make sense?
So do you want to see the green again, or?
It's only scenario, just to
It's just
confirm.
scenario.
No, I understand it's that, but I'm saying what are the number of houses? My question's even more basic, I think, than that.
So they're 30? I mean,
I think
that's a
I
maximum,
think you
maybe
indicated,
32, I guess.
So it just ties into my question, which I support this. But again, if I chair his questions, 2 weeks isn't going to make a difference, so.
Sure.
But I think you indicated there's 30 eligible houses right now.
Yep.
And only half of them, 15, is that right, have signed up for the program?
At least are eligible through the being above the limit.
Right, so that's the requirement, right? You have to be above the salt limit in order to be,
For DOT to pay for.
for DOT to pay for it.
DOT
So
will pay for the full
I
water
will-
main, not
I-
the service.
Right, so my question was a little more, I want to make sure we get everybody in there. Those other 15 households that are eligible, that have not signed up for the program yet, what are we going to do to kind of make them aware that this is out there? I just don't want to see us lay it for those people, and those other 15, if they come in, you know, not at the 11th hour, but say, hey, we're also eligible, they're in, right? You're going to do it. There's not a timeline. It's not like a statute of limitations, if you will.
Yeah.
So if they come in October or November and just say, I wasn't aware our house is eligible because we tested above the limit, they're in. Is that right?
That's correct.
And we will do
They're
personal
going to have
outreach.
to go through, you know, some testing and make sure that they qualify, but if they qualify, we will connect them.
Okay, and right now you think there's 30 that qualify?
There are 30 along the route. There
Oh,
are
and
homes.
you're assuming that,
If they may not, you know, that's
And
just.
I'll give, and to the example of the woman who came in to speak to me, she's .001 under.
Yeah, that person
But
should
she
be.
might, in the next year, if they retest her, she very likely is going to be there.
And there's a secret to when
Why
to
are we
test
splitting
it.
hairs at that level? If we've damaged their well at that level, why is the state just not having her?
And that
I
was. yes,
understand
and that
the
was my point to her,
larger.
that she would speak to you, and I think we're keeping, just for clarity, definitely a line of communication has to stay open.
So this is my hesitancy, and it is not about the project in and of itself. It is not the type of thing we can be and lack specificity in what we're doing and who we're offering to who, because that's where we're going to have problems. And then, we need to, I just need a list of addresses. It's that basic. So my concern is not the theory of it. My concern is who are we doing for, you know, what? And so that's my issue. So I'm fine voting on it in theory, but I don't see what the difference between that and a specific list are for 2 weeks.
I'd be happy to provide you a list of all the people that came to us and have qualified for the
And can you
program.
please provide a suspected list? The houses that you suspect would have these issues or be eligible in the future and should be regularly testing their water. And because part of the issue I also have with this is that some of the people, if they tested in a drought, are more likely to have the salinity levels at the amount we're talking about. So at some point, it just seems like if we're doing it for this group of people, we should do it for this group of people, and that's the group of people we're doing it for, and then we can plainly articulate that to the community. Because these are sensitive topics, and these are real cost concerns for this.
Sure. No, understandable. And just to reiterate, though, I think maybe this got missed in the discussion, though. Everybody in the neighborhood received a notification. They've been notified for years.
I understand that, but people get notified, and then people get notified, and I get notified of stuff all the time that I don't do.
But forcing somebody to test, you can't, you know, that's the catch.
but
I get that.
it's also my understanding from the talk tonight, that in the future, if anybody who is not qualified now qualifies, it's still going to be at the expense of
Yes,
Mass DOT.
Yes.
Right?
They just
So you
have to-
have 30 eligible houses now, and let's say in a year from now, you get another 10, they're not going to be told, well, we only, you know, it was a line in the sand. Once they go above that EPA limit they're in, right? They're going to have,
You're talking about where the water line goes in front of, correct?
right, or I'm talking about they have
It's
their
a
well,
yeah,
they
so
have their
we-
well tested, and a year ago, they were below the limit, so they would have had to
Yeah.
have paid, but now they're above the, or they're at the limit. Mass DOT is going to pay for that as well, the betterment, the everything,
Connection.
the connection, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's still, we understand it's all within this project. If somebody on Route 49, one person has one, you might dig a well there, it's a whole other process. Is that the
Correct.
theory? But within this zone, and this is the point that we need greater specificity on, is what is the zone specifically, who's getting offered what? And again, I understand we can't make people test their wells, but we can certainly do everything we can to encourage them to do so. So,
When you send out those notices saying, you know, you need your wells tested, are you letting them know that there's a program in place where it's, are they aware that they could get this for free? That's what I want to know about the other 15 houses that didn't sign up. Are they aware, were they only told, look, you should test your wells for salt concentration? Or are they being told, Mass DOT is going to fund a water line? What these people, I assume everybody that's here tonight are part of the 15 households that already signed up. But for the people who haven't signed up, are they aware of everything? Have they been told that there is a program and they're going to pay? Because that might motivate them to have their well tested.
this is,
You all voted for us to send
and
the
this,
letter.
again, but it's,
that?
we voted to send the letter, but I
Right.
want to see it in writing, we want everything confirmed, we want the specificities of what is being offered, to whom, documented specifically, not because we don't trust you two, or it's just that this is the manner of what you do it. So, with that stated, I will make a motion to, approve this project tentatively, subject to review by our DPW department, and to, all the other processes, because you're really just paying for the study, not the...
Design.
The design at this
Just get
point.
started, yep.
So we will be supportive of the design of this project, but again, we need greater specificity, we need more detail. The next time we talk about this, it's just, I want to know exactly where these things are going, for who, and who might be eligible. Yes.
I'll
So,
second.
Yeah.
sorry.
No, it's okay. Go ahead. What are you going to?
So to follow up, my action items are, A, to provide a list of people that currently qualify for our salt remediation program. To provide a list of the properties that are dispersed between, in that scenario A,
Yeah.
that may or likely qualify but haven't come into our program.
Yeah, because we need to be able to explain to the people in B and C why we're not doing it for them, or they're not getting it. And so it's fair and clear within this project. Also, does this need a special town meeting? No,
I just
okay.
have one question.
Good, good.
So they're paying for everything, design, construction, connection, betterment, but not the water bill down the line. Maybe this is a small thing, but when they're gonna pay their whole, so when we got water, our whole, grass was dug up and all that. Does Mass DOT come in, dirt, grass, and put it back?
Yeah.
Yep.
That's all part of
Yep.
the construction
Yep.
and installation of the water line.
We
So you
hire,
put better
we
grass
hire,
than
we
they ever
hire
had.
the plumbers, everything.
You do the
It's-
meter.
It's
We'll do
all
the-
taken care of.
Just,
Okay,
no.
all right, awesome.
We'll see, again, we need, this is for design, and we need it itemized, and we'll review with further questions. We appreciate your time. I'm not trying to be difficult, I've dealt with the Commonwealth of Massachusetts enough to know that I need specificity. And it's not you two I'm talking about.
I'm not with the Commonwealth, sorry.
So we have a motion, we have a second. All those in favor? The ayes have it. All those against? None, so.
So right now, you're going to use less salt in that area of the pike to try to lessen the impact on the pond itself, too.
Yes.
They're trying to, but they don't have the authority.
I feel like,
Listen, let's stay on topic here. All right, so moving on, thank you very much for coming, we appreciate you.
No problem.
All right, recreation. So, Grace.
So here, just in case those seats are unlucky.
No, you're fine. Go.
This one should be a much lighter, more fun sort of thing. So yeah, rec department, things are going very smoothly. Last year, obviously, as you know, last year is kind of my first year of, I started in the end of '24, so we've now officially been through everything once and moving forward. Big things going on. We just had the spring bonfire. We had tried experimentally moving that to Memorial Day weekend to kind of counteract the fact that April has been 40 degrees at night and the bands haven't been able to play in the cold very well. So we tried it on Memorial Day weekend. It was going to be a little bit of a gamble because it's a holiday weekend, but we actually had a really good turnout. It even actually rained partly, part of the way, like with 45 minutes to go. So even with the threat of rain, we had a great turnout. Vendors were happy, band was happy, everybody I talked to liked it. So yeah, that's pretty much the thing that's happened already. Obviously, most of our stuff is about to start. So farmers markets start out this coming Sunday. We're bigger than usual. We've been making a concentrated effort to make the farmers market self-funded. So this year, this current budget, going into next year, we've not taken any money for the markets. As of this year, it is fully self-funded. We do that through the vendor fees. That covers our market manager's expenses, as well as, the supplies and equipment we need to run it. So we're looking at 41 vendors at our first market, which traditionally, I think last year when we opened, we had 31. And we're looking at every market being bigger than the past. So we're excited for that. Concerts also start June 11th on Thursday night. We got a great lineup this year. I posted it online. We now have the flyers and magnets, at various locations. I'll be running them out to the senior center and some of the hotels in the area and stuff like that this week. But we've gotten a lot of positive feedback online from people excited about some of the bands we have booked that have not played here before. So that's exciting. We do have a lot of the favorites. We have Dan Gable and the Abletones, or Dan Gable and his orchestra, whatever that particular show is called this year. We do have him coming back. We have the Island Castaways again, so some of the big favorites that people love, and then a lot of new acts as well. So we're set up for that to be really good. Summer Block Party will be on the 26th. That's going to be a very event-packed weekend because we have a concert the 25th, the Block Party the 26th, the Parade and Festival the 27th, and
Alan's going to be rocking that.
and then the Farmers Market will be the day after that. So obviously the 250th Parade and all that, that's not the rec department. I'll support where I can, but that is, they got their whole crew taking care of that. Summer rec program starts June 29th, so it's a little bit later than usual because of school getting out a little bit later from snow days. But having said that, they're going back a little bit later this year, so we're still getting the full 8 weeks of rec in. So same amount we normally have done. A new thing we're going to be doing this year is we have the Sturbridge Kids Market. This is going to be an entrepreneurial market for kids. The idea is, we're trying to target people who have not done any sort of business before. So it's 2nd through 8th grade, and we've got applications open now. We're accepting 10 for the first year. We're going to be doing this at our farmers market on August 30th, so kind of the last market of the summer. So the kids they'll have all summer to prepare for it. And the whole thing is they're gonna, whatever product they're going to make or sell or whatever they're going to do, they're responsible for the whole thing. Parents are encouraged to be as little involved as possible, right? And on the day of the market, it will be, like I said, at our farmers market. So we'll have natural traffic from the farmers market, helping to bring potential customers to the kids. But also we're expecting that a lot of people will come out just for the kids, which will drive more to the farmers market. So just kind of.
That is such an amazing idea. So the kids will set up their own little kiosk or whatever,
Yep.
and sell, like if they made handmade note cards or candles,
Yeah.
they're going to get to sell their product.
Exactly.
Is this being, this is the first I heard of it. Is
Yeah,
it being
so-
advertised at Burgess and in the schools?
Yeah, so as of right now, we're already at 16 applications. And like I said, we're only going to have 10 for the first year. And some of that's based on what we have for space availability.
If anything, I would think if we expanded in future years, it would probably be just multiple dates with different kids at the different dates. Because I think there's a huge benefit to it being at the farmer's market for business reasons. So
How are you going to determine, you only have 10 slots, right?
Yeah.
Say that you get 30 applicants, what's going to be the determining thing? Because
So-
they're kids, so they're
Yeah.
going to want some explanation.
Yeah,
there.
so there's going to be a couple of factors. So right off the bat, the uniqueness of what they're going to do is going to be a factor, right? If we've got 25 that are doing jewelry and 5 that are doing something different, the 5 that are if they're all 5 different things, they're probably in because they're doing unique things. From there, there's going to be a process sort of looking at, if in their application they said, they've been doing this for a few years, well, then they've already started a business, they already have something, so we probably would not target that. We'd probably be looking for people who are starting. Some of it might be, some of it's probably going to be like age diversity, right? So if we've got, a bunch of older kids and then some younger kids that, it might be trying to fill out the range. So it is, this is one of those things that's, almost like when you're hiring somebody, it's, there's a lot of intangibles, like you can see what they're doing and you can narrow it down from that, but some of it might be, we might even ask for samples from some of the kids, like, okay, you're going to make jewelry, can we see some samples of what you're making?
Got
So
it.
they almost have to apply.
Yeah, when is
Yeah.
the deadline for
So the
submission?
deadline is June 18th, so the last day of school.
Okay.
Selections will be out by July 1st, so they'll have all of July and basically all of August for the ones who get in to, prep whatever they're going to do. We are providing them so it's a $15 fee to participate, which is what we charge the farmers market vendors. But for the kids, they will be getting a book. We've got it narrowed down to, I think, 2 books that Becky from the library was kind enough to get a selection together for me. We've got it narrowed down to 2, so they'll be getting that, and the book basically costs $10. So that's the first chunk of their money, and then we'll be putting up like banners and signs at the market so that the public knows that little section is the kids' market. I mean, of course, banners and signs will be reusable year after year, but there's a little upfront there, so.
And they're advertising on the rec website?
Yep.
And we'll put that out, once he gets through the application period, we'll put out promotion.
Yeah.
Nice.
And we have some really cool, there's definitely some of the ones that have applied now where I'm looking at it going like, well, I want them at the market because I want to buy that. There's like some
Oh, yeah,
pretty,
they're entrepreneurs for sure.
yeah, there's some really cool ideas out there. And so we're really excited for that. And like I said, this year we're keeping it, a little small and contained. It is only open to Sturbridge residents because, with the amount we're charging them, this is definitely, we're going to lose a little money doing this. But again, those banners and stuff will be reusable, so it'll come out in the wash, on that long term. Just like starting any program, you have an initial investment, right?
Yeah, makes sense.
But, we're not, my salary is paid by taxpayers and, so it's a resident-based thing. We could revisit that in future years when we maybe are growing it, but when we're keeping it small,
Especially when we have more Sturbridge residents that want to do it than we can do. We wouldn't open it outside yet.
Yeah, if we hit a point where we're looking for 30 candidates and we only get 15 residents and 15 non-residents, well, then we could say, hey, we'll open it. But for now, I've got more than we can take of just Sturbridge residents anyway, so.
Great.
Other than that, we've got the Woo Sox takeover.
Yep.
That is July 21st. So we'll be advertising that. It'll go on the Facebook page. It'll go out on the, I'm sure the town will put it on the town
Yeah,
site.
I'll put that all over.
'Cause they'll have the links to purchase tickets. And then, we'll have all our stuff, our hometown hero and our, all the color guard and all the,
And our own selectwoman threw out a pitch last year.
yep. So,
Is it a strike?
There wasn't a bad
So yeah, I would, technically.
You did all right with that pitch,
let's just
that's
say
not
she pitched a
easy.
no-hitter.
Thank you.
There you go.
And then just beyond that, some longer term things. Our fall bonfire will be Labor Day weekend, so September 6th. Again, it's a bit of an experiment. We might find that Labor Day weekend is a bad weekend and we have to move it, but we're trying that, hoping moving it sooner will not conflict with Halloween stuff. That had been the problem last year. We tried to move it to after Halloween, but Again, we're getting 40-degree nights. I think the band had to take like 4 breaks in a 3-hour show to like warm themselves up so their fingers work to play guitars. So trying to shift that a little earlier, see how that goes. Our tree lighting this year, we are looking to expand that and turn that into like a full like winter market. So starting at like noon, and we're looking to have maybe 20 vendors, people like local, you know, not just, you know, so local artisans and crafters, again, looking for the variety. So it'll be some of the ones from the farmers market that make stuff. It'll be, you know, not really a food-centric thing, but it'll be those kinds of vendors. And we'll run that all the way up until basically the normal tree lighting time, at which point the normal tree lighting stuff will happen like it always has. So really, it's just sort of extending out the day. We have a photographer who will do family photos for free. So.
Is there going to be a charge for the vendors?
We are debating that now. The reality of what it comes down to is the sponsorship for the event and what costs the rec department will incur. If it's not going to cost us anything, if everything's going to be covered financially, we may not charge anything to the vendors. If there's a charge, it would be similar to a farmer's market, where it'd be a $15 to maybe $20, you know, kind of that range. And that'll be great. It's, you know, that's Black Friday, it's the day after Thanksgiving, so it's kind of the forget small business Saturday, just come right out and support them a day early, you know.
Are there applications that they have to fill out?
We haven't put any out yet, so I think there's you know, I'm not sure if we're going to have like a full application process, if we're going to try to intentionally select vendors who have worked with us in the past for a first-year event where we know, you know, between farmers markets, and we have vendors that are some of our bonfires in the past, you know, so working with vendors we know the first year, that's still a little bit up in the air.
Okay.
You know, I'm certainly willing to put out an application, but I do know when we put out applications for vendors, it's a lot like asking who wants to play music. You know, I had 180 emails from bands trying to play on our common this year. And it's just, you know, so you hit a point where it's like, if you ask the question, you might get more answers than you can handle. So we'll see as we get a little bit closer to it. And then other than that, that's basically everything.
Thank you. Well, good luck with your summer season this year. It'll be fun.
It's exciting.
It'll be the time I cease to exist from my house. All my
job is
wife will see me again and go, hey, you got tan.
That's good. All right, well, enjoy getting tan.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Andrew.
Thank you, awesome.
All right, great. So we're going to go a little out of order here. We're going to go to action item M, which is consideration and possible action on the appointment of Garrett Skinner as the town's Veteran Service Director. Coming down, sir.
So just a correction on the docket, it is in the classification called the Veteran Services Director. Just for clarity, there were some questions.
That it says officer.
Yeah, so it's
Okay.
technically director. I'd like to introduce you to Garrett. He applied for the position, and we had, as you know, been trying to find someone who could do VA claims as well as the VSO work, and who was willing to do outreach, work with our American Legion, work on our Memorial Day events, things like that, and be the liaison that we've talked about needing again. Mike used to do that for us, and we have been sort of lacking in that. We did originally have trouble finding someone who could combine our 10 hours with another 10 hours to be certified to do the VA claims. That's been a challenge. Mr. Skinner works in Barry. Correct. And he has enough hours in Barry that he can combine with our hours, and he has already done the preliminary certification work, the coursework. Yes, ma'am. So he's well on his way to being able to do those VA claims. He's indicated a willingness to reach out. He spent, obviously, military, many years at the Pentagon in Signal, which is a secure communications program at the Pentagon, and we're eager to have him join. Leslie interviewed with me, and Leslie and I both feel very confident. He will do all of his 10 hours on scheduled hours. Either we're debating whether we're going to do a few hours on a Monday here and a few hours at the senior center, because both buildings are open on different nights a little late. He's willing to work with us on whatever's best. Leslie and I are sort of talking about what's best for the veterans, because I did have someone email me, and this has been a concern we've had right along. Sometimes when you go to the senior center, younger veterans are a little more reticent to go because they think of it as a senior center. and we do have a lot of, with the suicide rates, the troubles, the tragedies, younger veterans need to be reached. And so we sort of feel like maybe if there's an option to come to a town building as opposed to the senior center. But we're still working out the logistics. Leslie doesn't want people confused either. When you move people's offices, it can be confusing. So we're going to play it around, and I think Garrett's willing to work with us on however we want to play it. So I introduce you to him tonight, for you to meet, and hopefully support his appointment.
Questions from the board?
No, I'm just very excited to have you, so you'll be proactive. I know we put on a 5K road race every year called Home of the Brave, and for years we've donated it to veterans organizations. Now the last couple of years, and there's 200 plus runners, and then different veterans, we'll have kiosks, little setups on the common after for people interested in what kind of services they can get for veterans. But we've been giving money periodically, 2,000, whatever the earnings are, and sadly, the money, it's still there, but it's not being spent because we need somebody to really be proactive, outreach, and say, okay, who needs assistance for heating bills or this type of thing? And we're finding, so I know, like, for example, my race committee is very excited to have a veterans agent in place so that this money is actually used, that when the money's raised, we want to see it, like, actually used for area veterans.
Making sure we operationalize our accounts and making sure all the money's going in the right direction to make sure we're helping people that need it, I think. Is
And also, so we're excited. And I know she mentioned the Memorial Day. The Legion hosts it this year. It was canceled. And maybe some outreach with them so that next year there's a rain date or there's some kind of alternative date or, to be, so that we keep good communication, so, we keep these parades going. Because
let's appoint him to the job before we
I know, I'm sorry. I'm just really excited to have you kind of, and you probably don't, I don't want to scare you off.
So do
Sorry.
we have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we appoint Garrett Skinner as the town's Veteran Services Director effective June 1st, effective June 2nd.
Second.
All those in favor? Guys have it. Thank you. We look forward to working with you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. All right. Great.
If Lynn is gone, just come back tomorrow and
Swear in. All right. We are moving on to consideration and possible action on an abatement request by Jennifer Olson Pratt of 15 Apple Hill Road. How you doing?
About water bills.
But you can.
Yeah, it's the most fun part of our job, right? So what's going on, Ms. Pratt?
So did you all get my,
We did.
I have, I don't know if you want to see it, but they did install a smart meter in my home. I made copies if you guys want to see, so. I love copies.
Thank you.
Charts.
I know. So, for the record, you're providing us,
This is the first full month of my smart
gotcha.
meter.
So, okay, so the calendar,
Which
and then
is
it's showing
best
the
thing ever,
leaks.
I will tell you.
Okay. It says no leaks detected.
The one little leak was someone was working on our water filtration system and left the toilet on downstairs. That's
Okay.
the 1 gallon. But it told me like immediately. So my bill, my fourth quarter bill for last year was normal. And then I got a call from, my husband did, from Shane, that our bill was a little high, and I didn't know the amount. And then I got the, he had talked to us about installing the smart meter. They were going to have our meter checked to see if it was the meter. And then we got it installed like almost immediately. We're like, no, we can do it whenever you want to, like tomorrow. And then I got the text that said my bill was $7,272.89. And I almost had a heart attack. And so we did have a plumber come in, Ryan Latour. We had turned off everything, and then we slowly turned everything on before the plumber could come, because once it said no leaks detected, it did take a little over a week to get onto that Ion Water thing. They had initially gave me the wrong account number to sign on to. It's not just our regular Sturbridge account. Either way, so once I was on, we just turned off everything, and we slowly turned on. And Ryan came and he's like, there's no way any toilet did this. He said, it is your water filtration system that has been in place for a few years now. He said the auto shut-off failed. And so just it happened like right after we got, when our first quarter of 26 started. It started mid-January. It went all through. We didn't know any problem until mid-April when Shane called us, but it kind of sort of fixed itself. We don't know why. Mid-March, as you can see by the graphs that were on there.
So wait, just so I understand the timing, so your water filtration system is the culprit?
Yes.
And when, just hit me with the dates again about.
So it started, the water, you can see on the graphs, they just shot up in mid-January.
Okay.
And then it went down in mid-March. It's almost like a full, like, mid. It was kind of weird. We didn't know anything was going on. We never touched anything.
Is this water filtration system like in your kitchen, or is it down?
It's in the
at
basement,
in
which
the
we
basement?
never, it's not, our basement's unfinished. It's in the winter. We rarely go down there.
Okay.
We never heard anything. I mean, if we hear it, I wrote in the
Yeah,
letter about
yeah.
running toilets, and we've had them fixed
So
and
it
replaced.
just started leaking and then.
The auto
fixed
shut-off failed.
Yeah.
So right now, it's still off because when he came, he took a sample of the water, and he says we can't turn it back on until he gets the water sample back to get the settings for the water filtration system. I don't know. That's what
Okay.
he told us.
When did Shane call you?
It was, I have it in here, I want to say it was like April, it was mid-April, I want to say like April 12th or something. I have to refer back to my letter, but it wasn't until after the quarter was over.
Yeah.
I know I've had problems in them before, and we've talked on 2 other occasions, nothing like this, and I never felt like I needed to file an abatement on my other bills. But he said there was no way, because I said, is there any way of like notifying people that it's a waste of resources? I mean, I'm like the type that turns off the water when I'm brushing my teeth, like, I'm like, conserve water. And he said there's no way, but now they have the smart meter. I don't know when it started. I think we were like the first one to have it put in.
We're in the process. So
Yeah,
you're not the first person to have this
Okay.
issue, so we're in the process of.
Yeah,
getting
it's a
this going
great,
with us.
it's a great thing, I gotta tell you, but, so I got, either way, it was like mid-April, it was after it had ended. I wish I had the date here that Shane called
It's
us.
okay.
No, I just
Here
wanna
it is,
know
April
how quickly.
15th, April
Okay.
15th.
So
he
it's after
called.
the fact, though, after it.
Well
was
after
in.
the fact,
Well
yeah,
after.
yep. And,
Yeah, because it's January 14th, 2026 through March 11th is the period of leak, and then April 15th, that's when you get a flag because they ran the water bills
Yeah.
recently. Okay.
yeah. And I thought, oh, well, it's, whatever, it's a little high. So I didn't panic, but when I got the text, because I get text alerts when bills are due, and I was like working at the time, and I've never had that sort of bill. So right now, as you can see, the new stuff, so we're averaging 77.61 gallons a day between 2 of us that live in the home. And if I just extrapolate that out, it would be like a little over 7,000 gallons for Q2, which would be a bill of like $235. Like just extrapolating, I know, but just saying like that's just because, yeah.
Well, I guess I'll set the table, then I'll kind of turn it over to the board. Typically, how we deal with these is we say that after the meter and anything that happens in the home is on the homeowner. I have to admit, though, I've never seen a $7,000.
72, 72, 89.
So, thoughts from
It's
the
paid.
board? No. But thoughts from the board? Questions?
Well, I know, we've had this come up a few times. I thought that we had a list, I thought that we were, on a monthly basis, had a list
We
of...
do, a leak list.
A leak list.
Quarterly.
Oh, it's only quarterly.
And that goes back to, remember, the way that the meters can get checked? That's why we're in the process of changing them
Anything that
over.
runs 24 hours on that one test cycle a quarter shows up on the leak list. It has to run a constant 24 hours for it to pick up on the leak list. So it may, I don't know if it picked up on the leak list or not. but-
Heather,
I've asked a couple times in future, yeah, in the past.
Heather,
what's-
quick, just
okay.
hold
Were
on,
you
just
on
a
the
couple
leak list?
data points. So, in terms of the smart, or the smarter meters, where are we with that project? I think we started that last
We
year.
started it last quarter. You approved it last quarter,
Okay.
right before this happened, yes.
Okay, and what's the just timetable on all of that?
As we're replacing them as we get requests or have issues in a meter, we're replacing them as we go into houses. As we said, we started here in our own town buildings, so our town buildings have been completed. I think we've installed 2 or 3 in residence at the state, because we don't, unfortunately, fortunately, we don't get as many of these calls. I know that this was one of the ones that I flagged, and the reason Shane was able to reach out is because he had actually talked to them in the past regarding other, like, leaks and stuff of running toilets and things. So he had their contact information, and that's why we were able to reach out. He's like, wait, I've talked to them. So, it was one that we flagged. It was flagged for high usage. It wasn't flagged for a leak, I believe. I would have to go back and look at the tables. So we have 2 different tables. When the usage is extremely high, we also put them on a table. So there's the high usage table, and then there's the leak, the 24-hour. We can't call it a leak because we don't always know it's a
we
leak,
run it,
but
right.
the
We call it a leak,
24-hour
right.
continual usage.
Were they on both? Was this resident on both?
I would have to go back and look at the file online. I don't know. I'm pretty sure they were on just the high usage and not the leak, but like I said, I would have to go on the website and look at it. But if they're not, that only went up on April 2nd, 3rd. It goes up right after we read the meters.
Yeah, it's a historical.
It goes up
list.
and
It's not-
stays there,
It's not
but-
contemporaneous.
So it's just unfortunate, there was a vast amount of water in one quarter. Right. In the whole quarter. Unfortunately for you, it ran literally the whole quarter.
Yeah, it kind of, like I said, it ran, like, the last bill was normal,
Yeah.
and then it ramped up, like, halfway through the
hit-
first month, and then it ramped down for an unknown reason.
If it had started
toward
in
the end.
March, it would have been picked up
I've
right
asked
away.
Shane in the past if I could be flagged if there was issues. We have replaced all the toilets in the home. We've changed the guts out another time. We do the low flow, the total
But now with the
low flow.
smart meter, the app, you'll actually.
The app, I check it every day.
Okay,
Like,
so, what's the board's?
I feel the same way as you. I feel terrible for you that this happened to you. I don't know what the town could have done to stop this or to do anything better.
I don't know if they could have done anything from the past when I've talked to Shane, because I've said, can't you alert me if there's like something highly unusual and from I don't know your systems, but I've been told, no, we don't really know till
It's red
after
in the quarter.
After the quarter. So, because I've tried to be proactive and stuff like that, and, keeping toilets off that we don't normally use, but Ryan was like, and we have tried, after I think I sent the letter in, I don't remember the name of the filtration system, it was with a P, Prevair or something like that. I called them to say, like, what the hell? And they're like, you need to talk to the contractor that installed it. We've tried to reach him without any luck so far. He moved to South Carolina. So they said I need to talk to him before Prevair will do anything about it. So I have tried to do that too.
Yeah,
But we
it
have
does seem
smart
like a
meter, too.
defect in your installation or in your product. What's your request of us? What are you asking us to do? I'm not.
Yeah,
I'm not being coy either.
if I were, asking you for something, is like maybe an average of what I pay a month. I don't want to say, or I'll pay, more if you want me to. 72, 79 was really financially stressful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can imagine.
More than my half-year property taxes. So, it's crazy, the amount. I think I might have included in the letter that when I look at the amount of gallons I used in that quarter, it's if I add the last 3 years up, it's $9,000 less of 9,000 gallons less that I used last quarter than all 3 years together.
I think there is some accountability. I'll be honest, that's not the town's, kind of to Chase's point. 7,200 seems a pretty stiff amount of accountability. I don't know, what does the board think?
Can we wait until she gets in touch with the contractor?
I don't know if that's going to happen, honestly, but I've tried. He's not been the most responsive, unfortunately, since he's moved. But he's not going to be able to, I don't know what they're going to be able to do. But it's off right now, and my plumber is working on a new plumber's
And the
working on
company
it.
that, the manufacturer won't do anything unless the contractor, because it's debate over
I don't,
whose
they're not
fault
gonna do
is.
it.
Right,
They
they're
said
gonna
there might
point
have been like a
fingers.
power surge that could have caused it, and it makes the auto shut off go wacky. That's what Ryan had said, that it's, you might have had the power went out.
Well, what I would start with is I'd start by making a consumer
Right.
complaint to the Massachusetts Attorney General, because Massachusetts has pretty vicious consumer laws, and I don't think that those answers don't seem acceptable to me. That I'm not going to do anything. I mean, maybe they can say it was a short. How old was the piece of equipment?
Not very
But
old.
you should be able to trace an electrical surge too. Grid might be able to track if there was a surge
I was
on that day.
gonna call,
Yeah.
I just haven't, honestly, it's.
I would. So here's what I would suggest. I would reach out to the. I think Mary Lou's impulses on holding it makes sense to me. If it makes sense to the rest of the board, and I would reach out to the Attorney General's office, Consumer Affairs, and see if the manufacturer maintains its position once you've talked with them. And then, because this isn't. What's up? Good.
I was gonna say, in the meantime, I don't want to see her charged any interest or,
I think she already paid.
I already paid it.
So that wouldn't happen.
okay.
Yeah. So
Oh, she already paid it. I was gonna say,
I was,
we should have spread it
I was
out
told
over
I
the
needed
course
to
of the
pay it, or
year.
as interest and penalties would not be forgiven. I'm sorry.
it's okay, breathe. We
By
understand.
law, we can't forgive those things.
Yeah. No. That's
It's
not.
easier for us to abate it after than forgive.
We cannot.
You can, it's
You
not
you
legal.
can't spread it out in like an installment. I know you already paid.
Payment plan, but not
Already
interest.
paid.
That's what I mean, but you have to, well, you already paid it, so.
I would have to defer to Barbara, but I believe even a payment plan would
We've done
turn-
payment plans with Rick.
But
Even payment plans
You
are
can,
interest
right?
and penalties, is what I was told.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can't waive it.
It's.
No, we can't, I didn't think you paid it yet, and I was thinking of a payment plan.
I did reach out to Ms. Graff, and I did explain to her what the options were. But I do not have the ability, once interest and penalties get to be $15 or more, I don't have the ability to waive them.
No, it's not your fault, Barbara. Are you? What is how does everybody want to proceed?
I think we feel terrible for her, and you know, I just, and of course we want to do something for you. I want you to know that it puts us in a really tough spot moving forward with other abatements,
Yep,
and
I
it's a
know.
very slippery line for us.
In the past, we have abated when the town was partially at fault, or it was questionable, like who was at fault. And so I know I've, like, made motions when it's questionable and erred on the side of the resident and said the town needs to pick it up, but.
If this doesn't get decided for 2 weeks, is this going to be a major financial issue for you?
It depends. Sorry.
No, it's okay. I mean, no, it's a personal question.
No,
too, and
I just had a cat
apologize.
that had surgery, has 2% rare cancer that has to go through oncology now, so.
Well, why don't we do this? I'm still I'm gonna suggest to the board we table it, and I'm gonna work with her and see if I can help move things along, and then we go from there. Is that okay?
So I contact them,
No, you're gonna call me.
okay.
Here, I'll give
We have
you your
your
copy back.
information and we'll, yeah.
Just call myself, and let's go from there, okay? It's gonna be okay. No problem. Okay. All right, next on the list. I don't even know where we are. Consideration and possible action on an abatement request for Nathaniel Doctor of 29 Cricket Drive.
Is this the new one, or is this her?
That's 29 Cricket, yeah, no, this is not the B we skipped.
36 is withdrawn.
Anybody else?
36 Draper Woods was withdrawn.
It's gone.
Okay.
They withdrew it.
All right, and Nathaniel Doctor of 29 Cricket Drive? Going once, going twice, sold. Okay, I guess so we are going to,
Why are we skipping?
I mean, that abatement request is gonna be denied. I mean, they didn't appear.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna make a motion to deny that abatement request, for Nathaniel Doctor of 29 Cricket Drive. Subject to explanation as to why he didn't appear tonight.
Second that.
All right, all those in favor? Great. Okay, Barbara. We are on to action D, consideration and possible action on the sale of of the sale of the $2,110,000 general obligation municipal purpose loan of 2026 bonds of the town dated June 8th, 2026, the bonds to Oppenheimer & Co. Incorporated at the price of $2,300,000, $2,038.44 in accrued interest if any, is hereby approved and confirmed. I got through it, Barbara.
Okay, so that's not the whole motion, but if I could just give a brief overview, just
Yep.
for anyone who's watching, and, because, issuing bonds is kind of a big thing, and so people should be aware of what we're doing here. So, the recent bond sale, was the balance of the senior center project for a little under $2 million, $1,780,000, and, a water project, that had to do with the removal and replacement of treatment plant media. That was $465,000. So we did receive 5 bids for that bond sale, which was good. It was a smaller sale in the grand scheme of bonds issued. There were 5 bidders. The low bidder bid a true interest cost of interest rate of 2.75 and a whole bunch of other numbers because they put it out really far, but 2.75. So the financing for the senior center was 10 years, and the financing for the water project is 5 years. A lot of factors went into that, but we have a lot of other projects for water coming down the road, so this is a 5-year bond. The sale generated a premium, so premium is actual cash given back to us, so the bond premium was just about $204,000. That bond premium is to cover the issuance costs for that bond issue, and then the remaining money after those costs, which was approximately $135,000, goes to resizing the bonds. So where our project started at when we went to market, it was the $2,245,000. When the project is resized, it brings it down to the $2,110,000 that Jamie just mentioned. So as part of that bond issue, we also have to go before bond rating agencies. So we use Standard & Poor's. And so we had Robin and I participated in a ratings call. Jean Boubon and Terry Masterson put together some economic update information for us to use as part of that call. And I'm happy to report that our bond rating was confirmed as a AA plus stable. And if you remember, 2 years ago was the last time that we went to market for bonds. That time was for the entire senior center project, and at that point in time, S&P indicated to us that unfortunately Sturbridge will never be a AAA community. So we are the one step below AAA. I think Robin and I both sat on that call. They were so
Very frustrating.
flattering of the town of Sturbridge, and I'll give you some of the things that they said in a second. But I think we both went away from the call going, you know what? Maybe we have a chance. Like, we have proven ourselves for a lot of years, and unfortunately, and the rating came in, and the balloon burst.
We've been at this is very good, but we've been at this for a number
while.
of years.
We have.
And just one of the biggest, and maybe not the only factor, but one of the largest factors is the debt ratio for Worcester Retirement, and we ultimately, we own that. It's not our fault, we don't have any control of it, but because that's considered a liability. That's what they say is one of the key reasons. That and
Not
then
a big enough community that's in the past as well.
And that's
So-
the median income and all of those things.
Yeah, so I do want to just, bear with me for like a minute and a half. I just want to highlight the great things that they said about us, because I do think it's important, and sometimes finances, I know it's not. We kind of do a lot of stuff around, behind the scenes, but we don't really talk about it publicly, so I do want to. So in the S&P report, they provided very positive comments regarding the town's financial condition, management practices, and long-term stability. The report highlighted Sturbridge's strong property tax base, record of surplus operating results in more than a decade, and reserve levels that remained above 20% of general fund revenues for many years. They also noted the town's overall conservative approach to budgeting, stable financial environment, and strong history of financial performance. They further recognized that the town's robust financial forecast and capital planning process, adherence to investment debt and reserve policies, and continued efforts to plan for future financial challenges. They also cited the strong development activity, high tax collection rates, and steady new growth as a positive indicator supporting long-term financial stability. So overall, successful bond sale. I'm very proud of the comments that were provided. I think that, during budget season each year, there's a lot of questions regarding financial policies and, our reserves. And I think this just goes to highlight the fact that, we are doing things correctly here. A lot of the steps that we've put in over the past several decades have made it so that we have basically been able to survive a lot of economic downturns. So I did want to just highlight that for everybody.
And I do want to thank Barbara for the effort on these bond sales. Take a lot of work and a lot of effort and a lot of preparation. And it's been really 30 years of progressive financial management that is a huge part of why that AA stable, despite all the ups and downs that economically have happened and towns around us going up and down all over the place, the stability is so critical, and that really is a tribute to Barbara.
No, and Kevin and the finance committee for all their hard work, because they keep us honest. So no, Barbara, well, you're AAA. I don't know about us.
I was wishing it for it to be.
We both are cranky about that.
What you control. So in terms of the wording of this notion, do you need it in a particular?
We do.
framing,
So
'cause it's a
there's
bond?
actually a little over one page of, or actually 2 pages of a motion, which I did send to you. Do you have it in front of you?
Yep, I got it right here. I have to read the whole thing?
You really should read it into the record.
Okay.
Do you want me to time you, or?
No, I'm quick. I'm not worried about that. I hereby move, oh no, Mary, I think you have to, I'll do it.
You got it, you can do it.
I, the chair of the select board of the town of Sturbridge.
It is actually the clerk, because.
sorry, Mary.
Because she has to sign it at the end. That's one of the documents
gonna-
that only she
My
signs.
one job that I have.
It's a long
Sorry,
one, though.
Mary.
I'm not a highfalutin chair or vice chair, so I have to read the whole thing. I, the clerk of the select board of the town of Sturbridge, Mass., the town certify that a meeting of the board held June 1, 2026, of which meeting all members of the board were duly notified, and at which a quorum was present, the following votes were unanimously passed, all of which appear upon the official record of the board in my custody. Voted that the sale of the $2,110,000 general obligation municipal purpose loan of 2026 bonds of the town dated June 8, 2026, the bonds to Oppenheimer Company, Inc., at the price of $2,302,038.44, and accrued interest, if any, is hereby approved and confirmed. The bond shall be payable on December 1st of the years and in the principal amounts, and bear interest at the respective rates as follows. Read those as well. Year 2026, $255,000, the interest rate is 5%. 2027, $260,000, interest rate of 5%. 2028, $255,000, interest rate of 5%. 2029, $255,000, interest rate of 5%. 2030, $260,000, interest rate of 5%. Year 2031, $165,000, interest rate 5%. 2032, $165,000, 5% interest rate. 2033, $165,000, 5% interest rate. 2034, $165,000, 5% interest rate. 2035, $165,000, 5%. Further voted that in connection with the marketing and sale of the bonds, the preparation and distribution of a notice of sale and preliminary official statement dated May 18th, 2026, and a final official statement dated May 27, 2026, the, quote, official statement, end quote, each in such form as may be approved by the town treasurer, be and hereby are ratified, confirmed, approved, and adopted. Further voted that the town treasurer and the select board be and are hereby authorized to execute and deliver a continuing disclosure undertaking in compliance with SEC Rule 15C2-12 in such form as may be approved by bond counsel to the town, which undertaking shall be incorporated by reference in the bonds for the benefit of the holders of the bonds from time to time. Further voted that we authorize and direct the town treasurer to establish post-issuance federal tax compliance procedures and continuing disclosure procedures in such forms as the town treasurer and bond counsel deem sufficient, or if such procedures are currently in place, to review and update said procedures in order to monitor and maintain the tax-exempt status of the bonds and to comply with relevant security laws. Further voted that any certificates or documents related to the bonds, collectively the, quote, documents, end quote, may be executed in several counterparts, each of which shall be regarded as an original, and all of which shall constitute one and the same document. Delivery of an executed counterpart of a signature page to a document by electronic mail in a PDF file or by other electronic transmission shall be as effective as delivery of a manually executed counterpart signature page to such document. And electronic signatures on any of the documents shall be deemed original signatures for the purposes of the documents, and all matters relating thereto having the same legal effect as original signatures. Further voted that each member of the select board, the town clerk, and the town treasurer be and hereby are authorized to take any and all such actions and execute and deliver such certificates, receipts, or other documents as may be determined by them or any of them to be necessary or convenient to carry into effect the provisions of the foregoing votes. And then,
No, that's it.
That's
And then
after the
The other
fact.
one is what you're going to sign, yeah.
A second. All those in favor? Thank you, Rob. Thank you, Robin, but thank you, Barbara.
Barbara, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We're also doing
do I
the,
sign this now?
I'm going to give you all this to sign if you want to sign it.
all right, so then we're moving on to consideration and possible action on an increase to the spending limit of the pay-as-you-throw revolving account by $35,000 to a total of $95,000 for fiscal year 2026. So what's going on here, Barbara?
You want
Having
Robin
a
or
tough-
you want me?
You go.
So Board of Health has some unexpected expenditures that are capital in nature, that they can either take those funds out of the pay-as-you-throw revolving account, which fall under the expense category for that revolving fund, or they would need a reserve fund transfer. And so I met with Ken, and there are sufficient funds in the revolving account. There's a little over $176,000. And so we thought that it was prudent to just increase their cap, which was at 60, to 95,000 for fiscal '26. For fiscal '27, we already increased the cap to $100,000, knowing that there was some things going on. But they were doing some work, and there was a pump failure, and they need to deal with that. So asking if you would do that, if you would increase it. This is two-pronged, so it already went to the Finance Committee, because they also have to vote to allow the increase, and they did vote affirmatively.
And if I could, Ken is working closely now with DEP because there have been some issues. These are years of issues that have built up that we are working with DEP to ensure remediation. And as we've said, anything we do now would be all part of what we're eventually going to have to do for a closure at some point anyway.
Okay. Questions, thoughts, concerns? Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to increase the spending limit of the pay-as-you-throw revolving account by $35,000 to a total of $95,000 for fiscal year 2026.
I'll second that.
All that in favor? Great. All right. Thanks, Barbara. Have a great night.
Thanks, Barbara.
Thanks,
All
Barbara.
right, Mike,
Just wait till we
consideration and
finish.
possible action on the issuance of a common vic license to the Iron Club 365 Main Street. Sir, how are you tonight?
Not bad.
Great. So, I think I know, but for the group, just please explain what you're doing at the Iron Club at 365 Main Street.
So 365 Main Street is the property that was formerly occupied by Goal, the Brazilian market. So what we're doing is, our proposal is that we're going to put in golf simulators. So we're going to put in 3 golf simulators, state-of-the-art, along with a small sports lounge with TVs. The intention is as well to have beer and wine this will be the, this will be the springboard to go after the liquor license. So beer and wine and small bite appetizers. So that's the intention. You know, as a night out, it's right next to the, to Local Roots, the pot shop, so, you know, you can make a night out of it. and
Synchronicity.
Come in, grab a couple of gummies, play some golf.
You can make a night out of it if you're not driving.
Great time.
And get a pizza from Gito's, so, but.
I was going to vote until you brought in the gummies. I'm not on board with that. That's okay.
So,
I'll block my ears to that one.
So that's the intention of what we're doing.
All right, any questions? Do we have a motion to approve the common victualler license for Mr. Placella?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Good luck with it, Mike. Thank
You
you.
all.
Sounds like fun times.
Target is hopefully
Oh, yeah, good.
beginning of July.
Beginning of July.
I have
Great.
one question.
Yes.
Do you have to know how to play golf to use this simulator?
Absolutely not. We have practice, we even have little Lego golf if you want to try that.
Okay.
So, okay.
Now, do you sign up for an hour, or do you have to be a member? Like, is it
So
just a
there'll be-
fee
there'll
to
be-
use it?
There'll be different options. So if you will offer memberships, which will be a discounted hourly rate, and as well guarantee you a certain tee times.
Okay.
We're looking at, you know, we're running before we get going here, but we're looking at maybe even getting a package where, you know, it'll be a kids Lego golf kind of thing where then you can host, you know, birthday parties. But for right now, it's going to be, I think it's between 1,500 to 2,000 worldwide golf courses you can play on these simulators.
Oh, wow. Cool.
I don't play golf.
All right, well, good luck with it, my friend. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
All right, consideration and possible action on the issuance of a hawker peddler license to Rami Khalaf of Trinity Solar from June 1st to November 1st, 2026. No show?
No show. So he'll have to
Okay.
go back on an agenda if he wants to.
Yeah. Consideration and possible action on the issuance of a one-day liquor license to Altruist Brewing Company for June 12th, 2026 at Pickleball U, 178C Main Street from 6 PM to 9 PM. It's a pretty well-known player. I'll make a motion, so moved.
Second.
Those in favor? Great. All right, consideration and possible action on the issuance of a one-day liquor license to Altruist Brewing Company for the Concerts on the Common, June 11th, 18th, and 25th, July 2nd, 9th, 16th, 23rd, and 30th, August 6th, 13th, and 20th, with a rain date of August 27th, 2026. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
I'll abstain on that one.
Okay. Consideration and possible action on the selection of a Central Mass Regional Planning Commission delegate and alternate for the Select Board of FY 26-27. I have been in this position. I have not been a great Central Mass Regional Planning delegate.
Probably be better than me.
Well, they hit at 7 o'clock on bad nights of the week
So we
usually
need a
for me.
delegate and an alternate.
Yeah, so it was Mary.
I was the alternate.
Alternate, and I was I'll do it again, but it doesn't hit on good times for me.
I will say we do, Jean, obviously, myself, we are in touch with them and aware of what happens with CMRPC, so it's not, I mean, it'd be nice.
No, I mean, I
if
read
it's not
everything.
critical, so, yeah, I mean, and with the new planner, we would certainly expect that same kind of liaison, so we could carry it for you guys if you just are.
Well, I mean, if you want-
Somebody wants the alternate job, they're more than welcome to it.
Well, if anybody wants the actual delegate job, the alternate
No, no,
job.
no, I was the first one to offer it.
All right.
Okay, I mean, as long as, if there's one particular meeting that you say is, absolutely be there.
If there's something critical, I'll let you guys
I
know.
will be, all right, I'll make a motion to appoint me and Mary, myself as the delegate, Mary as the alternate to the Central Mass Regional Planning Board from the Select Board.
I'll second that.
Thanks. All right, all those in favor? Thank you. Consideration and possible action on carryover of FY 26-27 of 140 vacation hours for the town administrator.
It'll be no more than that, it might be less.
Okay,
Depends
well,
on how much
make
time
sure-
I take off in June.
Yeah, make sure you're using your time.
Yeah.
Do we have any questions? Do we have a motion?
Make a motion to approve the carryover of vacation hours for the town administrator into fiscal year 26-27.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Great. All right, consideration and possible action on the appropriation of $6,396 of wetland funds for FY '27 to support the role of Assistant Conservation Agent for 260 hours at a rate of $24.60 per hour. Hi, Lauren.
Good evening, everyone. So this request is to pay for 5 hours per week for the next fiscal year for our Assistant Conservation Agent. The rest of her salary comes out of the regular budget item. So this gets her up to 30 hours a week.
Okay. Seems reasonable to me. Any
It's a normal
concern?
course of action.
Yeah. All right, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to appropriate the $6,396 of wetland funds for the FY '27 to support the role of the Assistant Conservation Agent for 260 hours at a rate of $24.60 per hour.
Second.
All those in favor? All right, consideration and possible action on the issuance, thanks Lauren for staying. The consideration and possible action on the issuance of a temporary dock permit to Michael Foley of 132 Lane 9 from June 2nd through June 30th. Any concerns here?
He's not here. No, Lauren reviewed this. So, as you know, we changed the policy so that routine docks did not have to be permitted as long as they complied
Yeah.
with the parameters that you all set. This person applied for the variance, which he's following the rules, which is if you're not going to comply, you're supposed to reach out to us and apply for a variance.
What is it, because it goes for 5 feet
5
past?
feet over,
Yeah.
partially due to the length of the boat. The commission voted on a recommendation last Thursday at our meeting and discussed it and did not see any impact to natural resources, and their recommendation was to grant the variance.
I mean, 5 feet is
Yeah.
We don't have.
pretty
For a
small.
28-foot boat, too, it kind of gets you full access.
So, yeah, all right, anybody have any issues, concerns?
No.
All right, I'm going to make a motion to issue a temporary dock permit to Michael Foley of 132 Lane 9 from June 2nd through September 30th, 2026, noting the specifications listed in the application. Thanks, Lauren.
Thanks, Lauren. This is the first time the policy's actually been enacted, the new policy. So-
Good.
Did we vote on his was that a
Second.
motion?
Oh, second.
Okay.
Yeah, all those in favor? Thanks. Okay, old business, Mary Lou.
Nothing.
Chase.
Nothing.
Mary, done?
No.
Katie? I have none. New business, Kadian?
Nope.
No.
Nothing.
And I have nothing new. Correspondence?
Just the vegetation.
Yeah, we
management.
received notification of the MassDOT vegetation plan. Approval of minutes. If I can find them. Any edits to the May 18th, 2026 meeting minutes? There they are. Hearing none, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the May 18th minutes.
Do we have a second?
A second.
All those in favor? Great. Citizens forum, anybody?
Before we get that, can I just say one thing?
Sure.
Because we had our retreat, and I gave a compliment to to Francis that we always have meeting minutes in a very timely way, and nobody was there, so I just want to say it for the record, thank you, because it's a lot easier to approve minutes when they're in the not-too-distant past, and thank you for getting us caught up.
Perfect. Sir?
Yes, I just want to clarify, if I could, some of the things that were being said with the Wakapon water pollution thing that we're on. Just so that you people will be involved with trying to determine what people were going to be eligible for this funding. Just in why, I've been fighting this since 1985. And since then, there are very few people that originally lived there. And there are some homes, in a short period of time of 10 years, they've changed over 5 different owners. So there's 3 houses right now that are for sale. So in order to help Lorraine go through the process, that's why there's a lot of people that are not aware of what the problems we have with the water down there. Before, they used to come and see me about it, but even now, I don't even know half the people that are down there.
Sure.
So if the water does come in through there, some of these people don't realize what problems they have with their water.
Yeah.
And, you know, by the time they get to her, it's going to be probably a few more years.
Well, I think you're identifying our very concern, because with the information that's come to us has had a certain lack of specificity, and it's not that it doesn't make sense, and not from the town, I'm saying from the state, that I just got written an email where they said, oh, it's approved. What's approved? For whom?
The problem is down there because, of course...
No, I agree with you. I'm talking, but my point is...
I understand. You don't want it to expand beyond what...
No, I want to know who's entitled to what. It's not even expansion or contraction. The point is what is the entitlement? Because, to your point, you've been dealing with this since the 80s, and that a certain part of the approach, not them specifically, unfortunately, sometimes the messengers get hit, is that don't act like you're doing me a favor when you burnt my wells. And that if you're going to offer points to people, I want to know who's getting what, who's paying for what, and what the cost is. Because relative to the damage rendered by this harm, this is a de minimis amount of money. So I think that the point is not for or against, it's what is it and what are you doing? And I don't mean that at you, I mean it. Like, this is a problem the state has. They just come, the same thing with National Grid, we run into it all the time. They don't tell us what they're doing, where, how, and those are the points. So when I'm pushing them on these points, it isn't, I wouldn't read into support or not. I honestly walked into this meeting with no information from them since 2 years ago. They had the same thing they used last December 2 years ago. Right. And they're asking us to effectively commit to $1 million of support in passive infrastructure costs. And never mind that, the pump station issue is a major one. Those are $25 million right now. We're talking 30 or 40 million if this expands. So it's these and we're getting nailed on the west of our water and sewer points. So my point is not to counter what you're saying. My point is about getting answers to questions deliberately and in a more timely manner. And so does that make more sense?
Well, see, I did most of the testing throughout, because I went from door to door.
Sure.
All the Wells Park, okay, some of Walker Pond Road. And because of Woodlawn being the lowest point,
sure,
everything settles at the Walker
makes
Pond,
sense, yeah.
Woodlawn area. So, and there are like 18 homes just in that one particular spot that we're looking for. And some of those homes, like I told you, they've gone and left, and new people come in, and they don't even know what the situation is.
Has ready access to all of this information and has the resources to effectuate it far more certainly than the residents do, and more than we do, and that's sort of the perspective I'm taking on. So I get your point though, and I hope I don't seem like I'm debating you, because it's the opposite.
No, as long as they take care of our water, and it sounds like they're going to take care of all the people that are involved with their contamination, because they are the ones that contaminated
and
our
they're
water.
continuing to contaminate.
Yep.
And I actually strongly reject the idea that there's no ability to remediate, because salt is difficult. Yes, salt is difficult, but there are other ways to deal with this, and they've known about this for a long time, to your point. So anyways, I'm yelling at you, and I don't...
Unfortunately, though, we also found we have arsenic in our water, which is exacerbated by the salt that's releasing the arsenic. So that creates a different problem. When Linda was involved with this, she actually came up with the study for us, okay, to help us, and if it wasn't for her, really, this thing would have died a long time ago.
Chair Kikalis has been a valuable addition to this town,
Yep.
and everybody should be supporting her at all turns.
Yep.
Because Linda has been constant and valuable, and she does extra work that nobody sees. And
agree.
she's a very, very special person. So anyways.
Well, I agree with everything you guys did tonight, and I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And we just want to get our water, because there are homes down there that have gone through 3 different water tanks, okay?
Yeah.
I've gone through pumps, my pressure tanks, it's all rotten, okay? And
But we're going to do it the right way, and that might,
course.
and, we're going to add some questions here. So, thank you, sir.
Okay.
All right, anything else from? No.
Thank
As
you.
long as it's not that Emmerich guy. Anybody else? Anyways, all right, do we have anything else from the board? Do you have, do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second?